Hello, everybody. Um, Today, I'd like to talk about a movie I saw last night, which I thought was a good movie. The name of it is Hippopotamus, and I think I have an understanding of the movie, and I'd like to share it with you. So, in the beginning of the movie, we see this girl is locked up in a room, and it's sort of like a jail cell. Her her legs are injured; she can't walk, and her captor's name is Thomas. He tells her that he did this to her, and that he knows her name, and he knows certain things about her, and he tells her that if she wants to gain her freedom, she has to fall in love with him, and then everything will be okay. And so what happens is, as the movie progresses, we see that she lost her memory, and every day she can't remember who he is. But eventually, he's doing things. He's doing things that are bringing back her memory, and slowly, and she starts remembering that actually this person Thomas that kidnapped her was actually her boyfriend beforehand, before this all happened. So he swept her away to this island in the middle of who knows where, and she's locked up in this room, and she doesn't understand, really why he did this. So you have to ask yourself right away, what kind of person is this to do something this horrible to another person, to cut their ligaments and to keep them captive like that, and you have to be a pretty brutal person to do something like that. But anyway, her memories start coming back, and slowly, and she's remembering more and more, and the pivotal point of the movie is in that memory that she has on prom night, when they are slow dancing, and he says to her, I love you so much, and I want us to be together forever. And then he says, even though I know we're going to different universities, but I don't want to lose you. I want to keep you in my life. I want to be with you forever, and I have this undying love for you. And then she responds and says, I don't know what to say. She sounds reluctant, and she ends up saying, well, I also love you, and I feel the same way. But the viewer senses this reluctancy in her voice, and it could be the full memory is not being shown in the movie. The producers of the movie cleverly made it seem like that memory is a little bit incomplete. So in other words, it's possible that she said to him afterwards, look, we've been together since childhood, but now I'm going to a different university, and I want to take a break. I want to cool it off. But it's possible she said that, or it could be that she really just ends off by saying that she loves him, and that she really did love him. And then we see another memory, which about a year later, I guess, it's their anniversary in a restaurant that they're having, and he's making like sort of corny jokes or whatever. And it seems also like her responses are a little bit forced, and like, oh, I also enjoy my meal, and it's orgasmic, but it seems like, like she doesn't really appreciate his rap, you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of this corny, not very fun, like a boring type of rap, about the food, and like, and then the salmon was orgasmic, it's like silly. But in any event, then he gives her a present, and so the viewer thinks like, like it's possible that, maybe she really does like him. And that they did have a good relationship, and she wanted to stay with him. So then she asks towards the end of the movie, so how did we come to this? How did we, I'm here in a room by myself, alone, bored, I can't get out, nothing to do, sitting all day. You leave, you go, you go on your boat, on a rowboat back, because she was looking through the window, so she knew that he came on a rowboat every day to bring her food, I guess. So he goes out, but she's stuck in the room. So she asks him, how did we come to this? How did we get to this? So he answers her. This is also one of the pivotal points of the movie, not as pivotal as the one I mentioned before. I'll explain why soon. So he says to her, well, I'll tell you what happened. He tells her this whole story, but remember, keep in mind, this is not her memory, really. This is what he's telling her. So when the movie shows these scenes, that's not her authentic memory that she's having. So he tells her that, well, he was trying to meet up with her one night, but she was hanging out with her roommate, and they ended up going back to the apartment together, and he raped her. And then he came to her apartment and caught him raping her in the middle of the act. He got infuriated, and he beat the crap out of him and ended up killing him. And so he killed him, and then right after that, she was so traumatized, she right away lost her memory. That's what he tells her. He lost her memory from that traumatic event, and it's for sure true that the movie shows that she did really lose her memory. So that's indisputable. She did lose her memory, but he's claiming it's because of this event, of this rape. And so she lost her memory right after the rape, as he was on the bed with her. All of a sudden, she lost her memory right there. And so he had two traumas upon himself, meaning Thomas. Thomas had one is that he just committed murder. That's number one. Number two, his girlfriend that he loved for all these years just lost her memory and didn't even know who he was. So he devised this plan to sweep her away to this secluded island, and he can kill two birds with one stone, in a sense. In other words, he was trying to escape the authorities because he just committed murder, and so that's one thing that he had in mind. The other thing was he wanted to regain the love that he had with his girlfriend, and he needed time to figure out what to do, how to get her memory back. And it seems like he was some kind of medical student anyway. And so he was studying and he was studying about amnesia and this and that, because she did, like I said, that's indisputable that she lost her memory. We all know that, the viewer knows that she lost her memory. So in the end, he tells her that. So this is also pivotal, because the viewer is saying to himself, maybe that wasn't really a true memory, right? Maybe he just devised that plan. He's just telling her that to make it feasible why he took her away to the island. But in truth, it's possible that maybe she lost her memory from a different event completely. That's how she lost her memory, right? That's also possible. Or maybe she didn't lose. Maybe she didn't lose her memory at all. I mean, I'm just throwing this in there. Maybe she didn't lose her memory until he swept her away to the island. In other words, maybe what she really, in real life, in the real previous life before this captivity, she told him, look, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm sick of you. We were together since childhood, and I want us to take a break. I want us to cool it off. And he got infuriated. And like we saw, there was a memory that was shown. It was her memory. It was like for a few seconds. The movie shows a memory that she had, that of him jabbing her in the knees. So maybe that was the true side of the coin over here. That she just it's very simple. In other words, she told him, I don't love you. I don't want to be with you. And then he got infuriated and jabbed her in the knee with a needle and put her to sleep with something. And then swept her away to the island because he was trying to regain her love. Right? He was a nutcase, so he did horrible things to her to force her to love him because he was a nutcase. But you understand? So we don't know which side is which. But in the end of the movie, we learn that the true side is that she had an instinct that really that whole story that he made up with the friend raping her, it's all bogus. He just made that up to make it a feasible reason to do what he did. But the true story was, and she sensed this deep down, is that she really wanted to break it off with him. And he didn't want to let go of her. So So he jabbed her in the knee, like that memory shows. He jabbed her in the knee. Had nothing to do with rape, nothing. He jabbed her in the knee and just did a horrible thing, an evil thing to her, and swept her away to this island and locked her up. And he's trying to force her to love him. And how do we know this? Because we see in the end of the movie she stabs him in the neck, right? So she was just playing along, like the note said in that book, play along with the mirror, reading backwards. So she was just playing along all the time, and she knew really deep down the true story, that she didn't want to be with him. So she stabs him in the neck, and at the very end of the movie, we know for sure that's the true story, because so she pushes the boat and she tries to escape the island, but then she passes out. The next thing we see her in the bed, laying again. So what happened was he revived her, and then again. And who's the doctor taking care of her on the bed? It's none other than him, than Thomas. So we see that, and then the movie shows that evil look on his face at the very end. So we see that the true side of the coin here is that he was just an evil nutcase, and it was not what he said about that whole story that he made up with the rape and everything about the roommate over there. So we see that he was just being a nutcase, and he was evil, and unfortunately at the end of the movie he still has her under her grip, and it seems like he did the same evil to her. He incapacitated her, because it seems like she can't get out of that bed at the end of the movie, like she can't move again. So he was so that's, unfortunately, it has a pretty sad ending, the movie, because again she's under his thumb, under his rule. And I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.